This is the July what is it? Sketchbook. The simple daily drawing for July. It ships on the 15th, but today is the 21st, so it does take about a week to get here. So it's a little later than my original one. But I think it works out about, because I think I posted it a little bit later, so it should be like the third week of every month I'll be doing these. So this one has In My Me Era. It's a little sticker, and this is Eras. So I think this will be a fun one. Sorry, if you can see this. It's so hot in here. If you can hear the air conditioning, it's on in the other room. It's not in here. I shut my fan off for a few short moments. Oh, these are kind of fun. Okay, Zoot Suit, Harlem Renaissance, early television, Rubik's Cube, Chia Pets, Titanic, big hair. Yeah, this will be fun. Some of these I'm gonna have to look up. I'm not sure what a Zoot Suit is. I mean, I know it was like in the 40s, but I don't know exactly what it looks like. Vinyl record. Yeah, these will be fun. This is gonna be a good one. So I'm gonna start on this one today. I did start a separate one that I ordered outside of the subscription service, just so in between I'll do it when I want it, and then if I'm late on a month for some reason, I'll just stick that one in and in a replacement for it. So yeah, that'll be fun. So we'll start that today. All right, this is the sketchbook I have with the daily prompts for the month of July. I finished it a little bit early. So, Eras. So this was a lot of fun because it was just fun. The first one was kind of, you know, it was all travel-y stuff, which was a lot of landscapes and stuff I didn't really get into. But this one was mostly fun stuff, and I used mostly alcohol markers in this, which is weird. I've never used alcohol markers before, so I've been collecting them. I've been buying them from different places and trying them out, and I've been, you know, had a little trouble with a couple of them. Is I grabbed like a too dark marker to do something, and then I had to like kind of futz around with it. But okay, so let's start with, I colored that in with marker. So I did all of these, but I took out two and I replaced them with two of these because they give you like three alternatives if you don't want to do the one that you're given. Okay, so the first one is Zoot Suit, and it is from the 1940s. I like the way this came out a lot. I just did a micron, and the thing was, to do a full figure, you can only use a certain amount of the page. So I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? I don't wanna really do a whole background and everything. So I just did like alcohol marker, like circle around it. I did that on a few of these, so it at least looked like I used the page a little bit. So it was that, I like the way that came out. This one was all alcohol marker. Harlem Renaissance, and that was in the 1920s. So that was like jazz and that kind of stuff. That was a simple one, like a silhouette. Silhouettes are always a easy one. This one I put in the wrong place. This was early television, and there's a separate page for I Love Lucy in the back, but I switched them. So this is I Love Lucy, and I did this with gel pens, alcohol markers, colored pencils, and microns. This is one of the ones that I was using alcohol markers for, and it was turning out really good. And then I just used something wrong, and it just messed it up. So I used colored pencils on top to kind of try to correct it. I should have covered up that micron too around the lips. But anyway, so that's I Love Lucy. And this was social media. This was just one, I just didn't feel like doing too much. So I just did like an iPad with a bunch of apps on it. That was alcohol markers, micron, and acrylic marker. I must use that for the white. Rubik's Cube. This one, it was tough because it was, because it's supposed to be, you know, very geometrical and square, and it was like, I tried, but it did kind of whoop out a little bit over here. But I had one of these when I was a kid. I never managed to get all of the sides. I managed to get one side, and that was about the extent of it. Space Race, this was 1950s, so like the race into space between Russia and, or is that China? That must be China. I thought it was Russia that raced with us. I don't know. I don't know anything about space. Anyway, yeah, because Russia has the little sickle and China has the stars, right? I don't know. I'm gonna sound like a big dope. But anyway, alcohol mark. Oh, this was probably acrylic marker and alcohol marker on the back. This is the same thing, alcohol marker and acrylic marker. I'm not sure where. Oh, the stuff. What's this? Smoke. This one is all, oh no, I was gonna say it's all alcohol, but I did use a micron here for psychedelic. That's the 1960s. Chia Pet. This was from the 80s, and I did have one of these. This is micron and alcohol markers, but I didn't have a hedgehog. I had, I think like a little cow maybe, or a little sheep. My grandmother gave it to me. It was really cute. Vinyl record, that was 1950s. Just a simple, I have no energy today drawing with alcohol markers of a record. And I found myself also doing a lot of logos in this because I just didn't feel like doing, I wanted to do something nice but not like super detailed because I do them one a day and I don't want to spend, you know, hours and hours doing something precisely. Ink drop. Oh, I must have spelled ink there. This looks like acrylic marker though. Acrylic marker and alcohol marker. So that's the Titanic. That was from 1912. It was that was the White Star Line logo. Aerobics. This is another figure with, and I just put the circle around to kind of take up space. This is aerobics. I was around during this time. This is in the 80s. We all had leg warmers, headbands, all that weird stuff. Bright colors. Maybe that's why I like bright colors. I don't know. This was my favorite one. This is Expressionism, and it was the 1910s. I really loved the way this came out. It was so fun to do because it was, and I really think that's helpful when you recreate another artist's work because you see how they did it. You look at it and you go, oh, how did they, you know? But you see they just used certain directions to make things move, and it was just, I really liked doing this, and I think it came out really cool. That's my favorite of the month. Sony Walkman, that was in the 80s. Also had one of these. Alcohol markers, I guess was the only thing I used. Poodle skirt, 1950s. She came out kind of goofy looking. And I wrote down here, this is, I moved around, I didn't do them in order. So I think this is probably the first figure I did. So I just did her, and I didn't want to do a big background. So I wrote down here about the background. I didn't want to ruin it. And I said, hell, I'll just try it. So I did that, and I liked it because at least it took up space, gave it a little bit of color and whatever. And you can see this leaked through from the Sony Walkman. I did this one afterwards, and I forgot to put the paper underneath it. This is another one that was, I fought with this because I wanted to do like a bunch of Legos in different positions, and I just went, I just don't have the energy. So I just did the logo and a couple of Legos. This is from the 1950s. I never had Legos when I was a kid, but I always thought they were fun. My friend up the street had them, so I used to play with them up at her house. Rise of Hollywood, and this is my birthday twin. This is Greta Garbo. I don't really know anything about her except her little catchphrase, I want to be alone, and I like, that's me too, sister, so, you know, so that's why I kind of like her. Big hair, this was my era. This is 1980s. I don't think my hair was quite this big, but it was a little big. This is just alcohol markers and micron. This was alcohol markers too. Reality TV. I decided to do the Real World because to me that was the first reality TV, and it was in the 90s. Because I remember I was at a friend's house and she had MTV on, and I was just used to watching the videos and stuff. I didn't really go for the TV programs. They didn't have a lot back in the 90s, at least in the beginning. And there was like a marathon of, it was season 3 of The Real World, and I was like, what is this show? I love this show. So then I went back and I watched, because it was the end of the season, so I got to like sort of binge watch the whole season. And then I watched the previous one. So I kind of watched them for many years, maybe like 10 years, and then I kind of gave up on them. But yeah, that was like the original, before they started scripting all the reality TV shows. So yeah, that was my first thought when I came up with this prompt. Disco, 1970s. I was a little young for this. I was a kid, but I do remember going to see Saturday Night Fever when I was a kid. That's what I was going to say. I was disappointed with the silver alcohol ink. This is alcohol ink, and the silver came out really cool. It was all shiny and sparkly. It looked like real silver. And then when you touched it, it all rubbed off. It's still rubbing off. So it had, you know, like a nice surface to it, but as soon as you touched it, it just crumbled. So that was kind of disappointing. So I just went over it with, like, I don't know, Micron, and I think that's my my Signo gel pen that I did with the little stars. The Simpsons. This was alcohol ink, but I did use some acrylic to clean up a little because I made a couple of mistakes. I picked Lisa because Lisa's my little soulmate, my little vegetarian soulmate. But I remember when this show first came out, it was just so scandalous. Everybody was like, oh, you can't watch that, it's terrible. It's just showing all these wrong values. And I'm like, it is? I don't know. They made a big deal about it, and I don't know why. Pandemic reflections, the only thing that really popped into my head was toilet paper, because I remember not being able to find any when I went to the stores, and people were buying like paper towels and tissues and all kinds of stuff just to try to make up for the lack of toilet paper in the stores. I remember the stores shelves being completely empty, and I was like, what is going on? It was so weird. This was one of my substitutes. It was supposed to be the Ford Model T, and I have no interest in drawing a car. And I really messed this up. Anyway, this was choker necklaces from the 90s. Now, they did have choker necklaces back in the 70s, because remember my sister had some, and her friends had them. And she's a bit older than me. And it started out okay, but then I took a marker that was really way too dark for the shadow under the chin, so I was like, oh, and then I did a colored pencil over the top of it, and it kind of like, and this got kind of messy. But I think the 90s chokers are those plastic ones, which I didn't follow that trend. I was a little too old for chokers at that point, so. And this is one I just did this morning. Moon landing. I did this in alcohol markers. I think that looked kind of cool. This is also a substitute. It was supposed to be Slinky, but I did the moon landing for 1969. Just because I couldn't figure out how to draw Slinky. I just thought it was another one of those things that's so geometrical. It's so, you have to be very precise with it, and I just didn't want to be. So, but I think this came out kind of cool. And this one is Hemingway. First thing I thought of with Hemingway, with the Hemingway cats, were the polydactyl cats. So that's a little polydactyl cat. And this was Micron, I think, watercolor and alcohol markers. And grunge, I thought of, it doesn't look like him, but I thought of Nirvana, so I tried to do Kurt Cobain, but it doesn't really look like him. But I tried to put the green sweater in there. I remember him wearing a green sweater. So, that was alcohol markers too. And colored pencil, I must have done colored pencil too. Again, this is another weird one. This is Buddy Holly. His mouth looks kind of odd, but that was for rock and roll in the 1950s. So he was like big in the rock and roll time period. Atari, I didn't want to draw the console, so I just did the logo again. I thought the logo was kind of cool. I don't know if they were always rainbow, but the one I saw when I Googled it, it was rainbow, so I did that. I never played with video games until I was older, until I was like, what was the first one I got? I think I was either late 30s or early 40s, maybe. I got a DS, a little DS Lite. And from then I've gotten the DS 3D and the XL, and now I've got the Switch, so. But no, I never did Atari. I didn't play video games when I was a kid. Pop art. I like this one too. This is one of the first ones I did. So sort of an Andy Warholish Marilyn I did with alcohol markers. Got a little messy, but it's all right. MTV was a big thing for me because this was in the 80s, and where I lived in a very rural place, we didn't have it for a long time. I went to England for a year. I went in 1980. Did I go 80? When did I go? I think 85 to 86. So when I left in 85, we didn't have it. When I got back in 86, we had it. We actually had cable TV. We didn't have it before then, so it took a while for us to get it. But I was most excited to watch MTV because it was just amazing to me. But I did actually, my first year of college, they had it in our dorm, in the the common area. They had a TV, and I just remember walking in and seeing a Duran Duran video and saying, "Oh my God, it's the coolest thing!" I've never seen a video before. So that's one of their. I always liked their logos. They always had kind of interesting logos. Hipster, I don't know, I just pulled this. I like the style. I like just doing pen and ink kind of drawing. They always kind of come out well when you do a portrait. So, and I just did like a alcohol marker colored background. So that's a hipster, I guess. Now this is the early television. That was supposed to be I Love Lucy, so I just switched them. So I just did Howdy Doody. This is all acrylic marker, I think. So this was before my time, but it says 1950, so. And this was the bonus page. I didn't want to do the other, whatever it was. What's the other prompt? First flight? Oh, like airplane? No, thank you. This was just a whimsical house, and I saw this, somebody on YouTube did it. I just really liked that style, and it's not something I normally do, or so I just wanted to try it out. So I used a Micron and the new highlighters that I got. I just used that for color. I wanted to do watercolor. That was the thing. But because of this paper, it's not particularly great with watercolor, so I just did the highlighters, but I may try it again on watercolor paper because I like the style of it and it's kind of fun. And I was also wondering if I could take one of these pages and put like a watercolor ground down and see if the watercolor would work on it. So that might be something I'll do in my next month. So that is my month. Colored that in again. And yeah, that was really fun. It was a good month. And I thought I would just do a little sneak preview. This is going to be next month's. Starts with A. So every prompt is going to have an A word that is the prompt. So I will see you with the rest of that next month. And that's it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.